Welcome and good evening. I am Dr. Jamel D. Carter, the President and CEO of the Kayannus Consulting Group, a full-service management and educational consulting practice where we assist organizations like yours align human capital with organizational strategy. We have a variety of services available to you and your team, such as executive coaching, human resources and organizational development consulting, market research, intensive boot camps such as our nonprofit formation, business growth strategies, grant writing, and fundraising and development. In addition, we offer growth circles, which are intimate groups for leaders to come together for professional development, peer encouragement, and up-to-date best practices and research. Join a growth circle today. We have the growth circles for CEOs, entrepreneurs, pastors, nonprofit executive directors, and educational leaders. This is your news and information and church and nonprofit alert for Friday, January 7th, 2022. Your source for breaking news, information, trends, and commentary, all designed to assist you and thriving in both life and career. I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, and share. Help us get the word out. In addition, you can follow me on social media at Dr. JD Carter. The handle is @DRJD Carter, CARTER. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Parler. So there are a couple of stories that I want to get to that truly hits a couple of key points. So the stories that we will have to discuss on today, we'll talk about politics, we'll go into sports and entertainment, we'll cover what's happening in the world of the church as well as nonprofits. Starting off with politics. The Republican Party has narrowed their search for cities to host their 2024 National Convention. The four cities that are in contention are Milwaukee, Nashville, Pittsburgh, and Salt Lake City. Hopefully, what's going to happen, the party are going to look at these and eventually they will make a decision, somewhat similar to what you see happens when it comes to selecting places for the Olympics, as well as where Super Bowls will be hosted. That's what's happening when it comes to selecting their 2024 National Convention for the GOP. Other stories that came across the wire in politics. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Friday invited President Joe Biden to deliver his first State of the Union address to a joint session of Congress on March 1st. So this will be President Joe Biden's first State of the Union address. It will be given on March 1st. Also, what happened today, Ahmaud Arbery's killers were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I'm sure many of you have seen the video that took place where these two men were in a truck. They essentially chased him and murdered him in cold blood. The trial took place. They were found guilty, and today they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The U.S. Treasury Department has announced today that they're shifting more than $1.1 billion in pandemic rental assistance to states and cities that spent the first round of aid quickly. The department said Friday as it has taken back some of the unused funds that were given to other states and cities that were not using the funds. Those states that are set to those states and areas that will benefit heavily from this shifting of funds include California, New York, New Jersey, and the District of Columbia. Moving to the world of sports and entertainment, President Joe Biden has jumped into the Aaron Rodgers COVID vaccine drama when the president was videotaped telling a Packers fan in Kentucky that he would like to see the quarterback get vaccinated ASAP. I think what we're seeing going on with this Aaron Rodgers story is very comical. I do think everyone is entitled to their opinions. The president's entitled to his opinions. Fans are entitled to their opinions. Sportscasters are entitled to their opinions as to what Aaron Rodgers should do. But ultimately, the decision is Aaron Rodgers, just like with our own bodies. Some of us may have elected to get vaccinated. Others may not have chosen to get vaccinated. Ultimately, the choice is the individual. If people would like to live with the risk of possibly catching COVID and dying, that is their choice. I am of the belief that no one should be forced to do anything against their will. They should consult their doctor and make their own decision. But ultimately, it's good to know that President Biden does appear to be aware of what's happening in popular culture, as Aaron Rodgers is definitely the talk or scuttlebutt around the nation, as every day there appears to be another story surrounding Aaron Rodgers. Sidney Poitier, the actor and activist who broke color barriers in Hollywood and starred in some of the most iconic movies ever made, has died. He was 94 years old, and he is adding to the list of major players, major contributors to the arts that have recently passed. We do offer our condolences to his family. Former Texas quarterback Casey Thompson, who started 10 games for the Texas Longhorns in 2021, is transferring to Nebraska. So the transfer portal is open, and we're seeing that a lot of college players are taking advantage of the money that is on the table. Hopefully, Mr. Thomas will find what it is he's seeking in his new destination. Fresh off his release from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wide receiver Antonio Brown had a lot to say on the Full Send podcast on today. I will definitely say this Antonio Brown situation has got a lot of people's attention concerning what he did on Sunday. There were some people that liked it. There were some people that did not like it. But I think my major takeaway from the Antonio Brown situation is you get the behavior that you elect to hire. And I think this is where you have to do diligent background checks. I know you may say that this is sports. Antonio Brown, I'm sure if you look at his track record, he did not come with good references. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looked at his potential and his ability, and they offered him a position. But with offering him a position, some may say he came off as a cancer. We know that he had the fake vaccination card a couple of weeks ago that led to him being suspended. It really became a distraction for the team, and he was cut because of his antics on Sunday. I will say, if you are a hiring manager, be it though most of you who are watching this may not be in sports, you do want to do your background check. It's very rare that a leopard changes their spots or stripes, however that phrase go. But I will say the greatest predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And most people never pretty much change from who they are as individuals. So it'll be interesting to see if any other team picks him up or if this is the end of his career. It'll also be interesting to see if Tampa Bay is able to bounce back. But ultimately, once again, you get the behavior you elect to hire. and it can have an adverse impact on your team. Moving to the world of church, best-selling Christian author Lisa Turkers announced that she and her husband Art will be divorcing after nearly 3 decades of marriage. This is something that is hard to hear. I'm not sure if any of you caught the pastoral Bible study on Wednesday for Greater Blessings Ecclesiastical Fellowship, but in the Bible study, we were discussing marriage, and we were in Mark 28, and we were looking at, or we opened up with this question about, is marriage natural or is it a spiritual act? And one of the things that I think is important is when you look at the data, you see that there are a lot of people within the church that are getting divorced. And it's sad that after nearly 3 decades, this couple is dissolving their marriage, they're splitting apart. I would say that if we are believers, we should do everything in our power to try to save our marriage. That includes counseling, that includes prayer, fasting, that includes us working on ourselves and asking each other, if you're a person in that relationship, what am I doing that's contributing to the environment in which we find ourselves in? Definitely, it is sad news, but I think what it also reveals is that we as believers should come to the understanding that humans are sinful creatures. We're imperfect creatures. There are mistakes that are made regularly. So we have to thank God for grace, and not only thank God for grace, we should be striving to get close to Him. We should be presenting our bodies a living sacrifice so we can draw close to Him. Hopefully, Lisa and Art are able to yet speak, and who knows, maybe they can reconcile. Let's continue to keep both of them in our prayers. Mary Onua, I'm probably butchering his name, Anua, a Christian nurse who lost her job with Croydon Health Services because she refused to remove a cross necklace, has won a major legal case before a British employment tribunal. And so what had happened here is that you had a Christian nurse who essentially wore her faith in this necklace, letting people know that she is a Christian, and her place of employment was not pleased with that, and they wanted her to remove it. She elected not to remove it. She lost her job. She filed a lawsuit, and she has gotten a major win, a major victory. One of the things I think we all need to pay attention to our religious freedom, our religious liberty. We should not cave if something on our job is going against our religious values. Yes, we know we're living in a more secularized society where people aren't valuing those who have religious beliefs. We know there are a lot of people that are secular in their thought process, in their views, but I think we need to applaud individuals such as Mary, who's standing up, letting people know that they're not going to allow themselves to be trampled over by people who do not respect their faith. So I will say, if your faith is challenged at work, you have to stand. You have to stand by your principles. You have to stand by your faith. Do not abandon your faith when things do not look good or do not look pleasing, but stand up for righteousness. And I'm sure you will see that you will be victorious in the end. Speaking of standing up for your faith and your views and your beliefs, some of you may have seen that Ice Cube had mentioned in a recent tweet that Chris Tucker turned down a $10 million payday in the sequel to the Friday series for religious reasons. And he has stated he did not want to curse or smoke weed on camera anymore. You know, I think this is something that should be applauded within the church. Yes, we know that this is old news, but we have to commend Chris Tucker for standing up for his views and his beliefs. There are so many believers today that have compromised their moral compass for a payday. because they wanted that raise, they wanted that promotion, they wanted that notoriety and that acclaim. They forgot who they were. And so I do say we as believers need to commend him for what he has done. And we should also use him as a model. And I think we should ask ourselves that question. You know, the Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? I guess the question we should have is, if that were you, would you have stood firm in your convictions and in your beliefs and not compromised them for, $10 million? The sad part about it is that you have a lot of people that grow up in the church, and once they leave the church, they go and engage in controversial practices and acts because they want to become famous, they want to make it big, they compromise who they are. But Chris Tucker was not willing to do that. And hopefully you will be able to say the same for yourself. Moving into the world of nonprofits, data is showing that COVID once again is threatening food banks when it comes to their supply of volunteers, the people that are willing to work and pass out food and serve those that are seen as the least of these, those that are food insecure. Food banks are losing volunteers. And so I will say that if you have two hands, if you have 2 feet available, you may want to find a nonprofit to go and lend your support and your services to. Because they are doing the work of the Lord, helping the food insecure, helping the home insecure, helping those who are in need, who are struggling. So if you have time, go and volunteer with a local nonprofit organization, because as we're seeing increases in cases, we're seeing that the volunteer pool that's afforded to nonprofits are declining. Helen Monsfort, Vice President for Climate and Economics at the World Resource Institute, has been selected as the next president and CEO of the $244 million Climate Works Foundation. Congratulations are in order for Helen. She has secured the bag. She has secured more responsibility. And it's going to be interesting to see how her leadership serves in moving the Climate Works Foundation forward. The Ford Foundation, or should I say at the Ford Foundation, Sarita Gupta has been promoted from Director of the Future Workers Program to Vice President for U.S. Programs. Congratulations, Sarita, on that promotion there at the Ford Foundation. I think it's always good when you see that someone is promoted where they're currently employed, because it shows that they did their work, they met their performance measures, and those in leadership have come to see the value of that particular individual. New data from the third quarter of 2021 has revealed that giving held roughly through the third quarter, unlike in the second quarter where there was major fluctuations taking place for many nonprofits. I think part of that was that there was a lot of chaos still happening when it came to dealing with COVID-19. But then we start to see more and more people vaccinated. We start to see more and more people going back to work, and giving started to go up again, or should we say held steady in the third quarter for nonprofit organizations. That is great news. But now that we have entered into the first quarter of 2022, we're seeing increases in cases, and we're seeing that it is having an impact on numerous nonprofits. But I do think now is the time for nonprofits to continue to strategize and plan for what they're trying to do in 2022. I just want to remind you that the Kayannus Consulting Group has a team of consultants and coaches who are always ready to help you and your organization align your human capital with organizational strategy. If you need help or if you would like to see how we can be of assistance to you, give our offices a call for a no-fee consultation. You can reach us at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, that number is 1-800-418-5350. I hope today's alert has spoken to you, has encouraged you, has been insightful, and that you have found meaningful information that you can use in maybe you're conducting your own business within your organization. I do pray that God will shine upon you this week, and doors of windows of opportunity will continue to open up for you for the remainder of this year. Until next time, be blessed, my friend.